So I did it again. Muted myself while I was talking. I was actually talking with one of my clients on the phone, just briefly, because he has an old computer and difficulty getting on. So I was trying to troubleshoot that with him. So I turned my microphone off. But we are here. It's glad to see you coming on in, and I really love doing this Zoom. This is really fun. I'm going to wait till a few more people come in, and then I'm going to go over how you can participate in this webinar. There are different ways you can do that, so I will do that. But again, I will take my time now to introduce myself. My name is Rebecca Becky Montrone. I grew up here in Keene, New Hampshire, and back after many years, since 2009. So been here many years now, but most of our adult life we were not here. But I am a holistic health care practitioner with a degree in holistic nutrition. And I'm also an herbalist. So we do lots of fun things here, all related to health, from visiting with people in private consultation for whatever their health issues might be, to making some really cool formulas and herbal botanical products. And that is just the greatest fun. So anyway, you can reach us here. We are open 9:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, located at the Miller Forge building in Keene, New Hampshire. And up on the third floor, you can access us by elevator or by stairwell. When we're open, our doors open as soon as you get off the elevator or the stairwell. You can see our doors open. You can probably smell some really good smells. People always say it smells great up here, and it does, because we're always making stuff that smells good, except when I'm working with valerian root, which is yucky. And I was doing that last night, actually, before I left, because somebody ordered a bottle of something. I had to make a whole new brand new batch of Wondrous Z's with valerian. So when you do that, anything you've had, touch it, you put away. So anyway, but usually it smells good up here. And we also make CBD extract, a really wonderful combination of 5 different strains of CBD of cannabis that contains it's high in CBD. Well, it's actually 3 that are CBD, and then I have a strain of CBG and a strain of CBC, which make the CBD work better. But Mary has to take those home to Stoddard, because we have to bake it. You decarboxylate it. And that just means you bake it. But decarboxylation means you get it to a temperature where you can now extract the terpenes that work. So she has to take that out into the woods to do, because we can't do it here in the building. It smells like everybody in the building is smoking weed. I certainly can't take it home to our place here in Central Keene. I don't think our landlords would really appreciate that. And it just really does have quite a smell. But again, it is August 26th. And now that I am unmuted, I want to make sure I say that. So if you're picking up this program, you're listening to the right one. Oh, by the way, you can get these recordings afterwards. Last week, what I did was, as soon as I had this done, and I edited out the part where I was muted for like a big part of the intro, I moved it to my Dropbox, and then a Dropbox link I sent to you. And I will do that. I hate to clutter your inbox especially on a Saturday, but I'll do that because I know sometimes a lot of people can't be here when we're on, and you can just easily pick it up later. And you can also go to my website, wondrousroots.org, and go to radio webinar at the top, and you can find these. I post them right away on Saturday, generally speaking. So what did I want to say? Yes, if you look down at the bottom of your screen, you will see like a bar with all these different options. And one of them is, it's really weird because I cannot see the raise your hand. Oh, yes, I do. I have to really expand mine, or they take some of those out. So there's a raise hand. if you want to talk, if you want to, just like this is talk radio, if you want to talk to me, just raise your hand and I will choose you. And then you will I will ask you to unmute yourself and you will be able to speak. If you want to speak and be seen, then you can raise your hand. And if you want, I will promote you to a panelist status and we can all see you as well. So those are just some things for you to know. And so I've been talking, last week I was talking about tea, and I just made myself, it's not a great vessel to drink from. It's actually a jar we put our dried tea in, but I didn't have anything clear. I wanted to show it to you. This is the unwind tea. So this is for relaxation and unwinding from stress. Not that I'm stressed, but last week I drank the heart tea and I wanted to try this one. Yeah, that one's really good. I know I've tried this before, but it's very nice. And these have become quite a hit this week, I have to say. Somebody actually purchased from Brooklyn, New York. Somebody has never ordered anything from me. That I know of. I should have to go back and look, but I didn't recognize the name. Our cycle tea. And cycle is for women with heavy menstrual periods. And that can be a real problem. And I have other ways to get on top of that for the hormones and things to put an end to that. So you don't need the tea, probably is what I'm saying, like iodine supplementation to regulate estrogen, like vitamin A. Real vitamin A from fish liver oil in capsules, but real vitamin A. Things that actually balance things so that you're not over bleeding. But that was really interesting. Other teas, I have to say, somebody last week was asking like, why not do like a tea sampler? And that's a great idea. But a couple of our teas are what we call decoctions. And if you are familiar with herbal medicine, then that will ring true to you. But a decoction is where you take the tea and you actually simmer it. Like you don't bring it to a full boil, but you simmer it for at least 20 minutes and then strain it. And we do decoctions, especially in blends that are really full of hard plant material like berries, roots. I'm trying to think. So the two teas that we have that are decoctions are Balance, which is for hormonal balance for women of all ages, and then my Menotime tea, which is for menopause. And those are decoctions. So they're a little bit harder to put into like a tea bag because you really wouldn't use a tea bag. But that's a good idea. Then after doing today's program on vitamin C, finally, been talking about doing vitamin C for a while. I've gotten very enthused about it and excited about it. Again, it's an old friend that I kind of have been neglecting. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get started. If you have my newsletter, I think what might be better this time, I'm going to try doing this. I'm going to share my screen with my newsletter. And I'm hoping that everything I open within the newsletter will also show up in the shared screen. And I think it will. And I think that is really ideal because I'm always referring to this and I'm saying you can follow along if you want, or you can, and open things up. But as I open things, I'm going to do that sharing my screen. And I think that will be fun. Oh, there's also the Q&A down at the bottom screen. There's the chat. So you can raise your hand. You can go to chat, click on chat, and you'll see on the sidebar exactly where you can type in. And it will ask you who can see your question, or your comment. And you can choose everyone or just the host or just the panelists or whoever you want. Then you can go to Q&A, and that's the question and answer. And there you would type in, and then I get to see it. And it tells me whether you're going to, whether I'm going to answer on, on here, or whether I'm going to type you an answer or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So that's how we do it here. And I hope I didn't leave anything out. Okay, so share my screen. I am also able here to see when I do this. The only problem with this is when I do this, I cannot see the chat or anything like that. So that might not be the best way to do it. Or maybe since I have Dale in the back as a panelist, maybe if somebody's, Dale, asking a question or something, you can speak up and just let me know. Does that sound like a good idea? Stop my share for a minute. So I think that would work. Dale, do you think so? That you could just maybe do that for me? Well, I don't see that. He might be doing something else in the lab. He's down in the room where he makes all the skin creams and things.
Can you hear me?
He's a multitasker.
Can you hear me talking?
So let me see. Would help. Okay, Dale, go ahead.
Okay, so you can hear me talking?
Yeah, well, I had my volume muted on my sound.
Okay. So I still have all the controls down at the bottom.
Okay.
When you have your when you're sharing your screen.
Oh, okay. I don't. So, that's interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to share my screen, but maybe if somebody is asking a question, you could maybe just jump in and tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you can see there, let me just pull this out. Okay. And pull this in. And I'm just trying to see, show grid video. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So vitamin C, I'm going to say here, sometimes we can take an old friend for granted. Sometimes someone new and trendy comes along and we can make note of his or her exceptional qualities, while perhaps allowing those of our trusted and true companions to fade into the recesses of our minds. I think I could say that is true for me and my old friend vitamin C. While newer, at least to me, and perhaps flashier nutritional tools have entered my circle of nutritional friends, such as glutathione, and more recently, methylene blue and indium, I haven't paid any attention to vitamin C for years. Personally, I haven't taken more than 250 milligrams of my daily multivitamin for many years, and I haven't put vitamin C in higher doses into any of my clients' recommendations. Oh my, how much I have been missing. So I think I will change my mind on this and stop my share so that I can see what you all are doing out there. It makes me a little nervous. You could be talking behind my back and I can't even see it. And I'm going to go to this for myself. And I want to tell you that one of the really cool things that happened was I was able to get this book. You can see it here. Curing the Uncurable. I haven't had it for that long and look at it. But yeah, I'm still enjoying reading this. But this book was written by Thomas E. Levy back in 2002 and has since been updated. But he goes over the work of a very important man when it comes to vitamin C, whose name is Klenner, but what's it? Frederick Robert Klenner. So it's a very highly credentialed man from back. He was born in 1907 and he died in 1984. It says after graduating Duke University School of Medicine, March 1936, Frederick Klenner completed 3 years of postgraduate hospital training and then entered the private practice of medicine at Reidsville, North Carolina. Specializing in diseases of the chest, Dr. Klenner also engaged in a limited general practice, which enabled him to make observations in the use of massive doses of ascorbic acid in viral diseases, as well as other pathological syndromes. During his career, Klenner published 28 scientific papers on these observations. I'm going to go to one of them here. From my own files. in vitamin C because I was able to edit it and do some highlighting with it. This is actually, I found this morning because I was looking for something that sort of kind of summarized or was a greater summary of his work. And so I found something short that is like a mere 74 pages long, but I was able to do some highlights in here. So just want to kind of familiarize yourself with the amazing things that were really done with vitamin C earlier on in earlier decades, and how remarkable that work was, and how important it is when it comes to how it applies to us today. In other words, I'm not going to go out and get a vitamin C infusion like somebody would be if they were being treated for hepatitis like he did, or polio like he did, or viral pneumonia like he did, or rabies like he did. Many things, but we can extrapolate and say, if we take enough, we are putting ourselves in a great sense in a vaccination status without a vaccine, if you will. We are putting ourselves in a position where our bodies are supremely resistant to infection, to viruses and bacteria. And that right there is very remarkable. Now I'll go back when COVID was all the rage, and it looks like people are conspiring to make it all the rage again. And I think probably that will always come up whenever it seems expedient for one reason or another. We'll all be back into the COVID scare. But one of the things that happened was where people would ask about vitamin C. And I would say, IV vitamin C for COVID is brilliant. In China, they did this right away. Of course, the mainstream media and the the Faucis of the world kept this from us, but they were treating COVID very successfully with intravenous vitamin C. But I told people, vitamin C is great. It helps boost your immune system, but for COVID, it doesn't shut off the cytokine storm. It doesn't shut off that inflammatory cascade the way glutathione does, the way melatonin does. So I'd be like, vitamin C, namby-pamby, I just didn't see the vitamin C link until I started doing my homework and understood the effect of this. Now, for those of you who have been listening to me for any time, you know all about my enthusiasm for methylene blue. So methylene blue was originally used as a dye. It's a salt. It's not like a dye. It's not like a food red number 6 or anything, and it's natural. It is it is used for in hospital for correcting a condition called methemoglobinemia, which is when hemoglobin turns to methemoglobin, and this is where there's no oxygen in your blood, right? Essentially. And methylene blue they use to do that. Vitamin C also does that. They use methylene blue to antidote carbon monoxide poisoning. And vitamin C also does that. In fact, if you are going to be given methylene blue by IV infusion, you are supposed to be ruled out for having a G6PD enzyme deficiency, which means it would have the opposite effect than desired. The same is true for vitamin C infusions. There's a great overlap there. We're going to find out, well, I have found out, and you're going to find out, that vitamin C is hugely important for dealing with all of the toxins around us. It's not just about our immune systems and about viruses and bacterial infections and those kinds of things. It's not like that. And I honestly think I have to go back and clarify for myself the bacterial versus viral, but because I could be wrong about the bacteria. And I think vitamin C is more for viruses, but hugely for the immune system fighting everything, as the white blood cells desperately need to be high in vitamin C. So when I first started to investigate, this, I was doing the series, Why Are We So Sick? Essentially, I still am in that series. That's what we're doing right now. And in that section called missing nutrients. And I was like, I can't leave missing nutrients without addressing vitamin C, give my old friend a little token, respect. And I started like looking into vitamin C, and I started reading various conflicting things. And that made me all the more thirsty for more information, which is why I got this book. And then this just really knocked my socks off. So I will tell you that I am at this present time using 6,000 milligrams of oral vitamin C in divided doses, 3 divided doses every day. And I've been doing that. I started with 2,000, then I went to, so I'm actually doing, I have that wrong. I do 2,000. Yes, that's right. 2,000, 3 times a day. Yes. And then I went to like a 1 teaspoon of 1,000. Then I went to 2 teaspoons, 2,000 each time. And I started just 1 time a day. And I built up over, I don't know, it's probably been about 10 days or so. Because if you're not used to that level of vitamin C, it can loosen your stools. If you go gradually, your body will be accustomed to it. There are different forms of vitamin C too, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But just say here, says here, this person who wrote this, Lyndon H. Smith, who wrote Clinical Guide to the Use of Vitamin C, the clinical experiences of Frederick R. Klenner, MD, abbreviated, summarized, annotated by Lyndon H. Smith. I want to tell you that's in your newsletter. That's there's a link to that 74-page thing that you can scroll through. But I think you would be, if this really interests you, then you would want to look at it, at least breeze through it and see what interests you. The early papers, it says here that this forward to this was written by Linus Pauling, who is the vitamin C Nobel laureate. He won a Nobel Peace Prize for his work with vitamin C. And he says the early papers by Dr. Fred R. Klenner provide much information about the use of large doses of vitamin C I just have to move this out a little bit, preventing and treating many diseases. These papers are still important. Dr. Lyndon Smith has done a valuable service in making the work of Dr. Klenner available to the public. And what follows is a written review, abbreviation, summary. He said, I have before me the published works of Frederick Robert Klenner, and he's got all these like MNOPQST things after his name. He graduated from Duke University School of Medicine back in 1936. After 3 years of hospital training, he entered the private practice of medicine in Reidsville, North Carolina. His main specialty was diseases of the chest, but he became interested in the use of massive doses of vitamin C in the treatment of virus diseases and other illnesses as well. He inspired Linus Pauling and Irwin Stone to expand the research on the great benefits of vitamin C. He died in 1984. Says what follows is a review, an abbreviation, a summary, and a critique of the 27 scientific papers he wrote. In the light of the recent developments in research in the use of vitamin C, it is essential that the roots of its usage be reviewed, wondrous roots. Briefly, vitamin C does attenuate most virus infections by adding the protection of interferon, controls many cancers, because that's what a lot of people are getting vitamin C infusions for now, what they go for, people with cancer who go, we actually have a practice right here in Keene. I think there are a couple of them, but I'm going to just take a look. I know I've got them as one of my favorites in, if I go to a new window here, I can see infusions of Keene, Introspect Wellness Med Spa in Keene, New Hampshire. There's one of my friends, Jessica, I'm thinking Jessica Spark, is one of the co-owners of that, and they are a wonderful place that you can go and get that. And there are other places pretty close locally where we are, where you can do that. And I'm sure in areas where you all can do that too. But in any case, that's a lot of the reason. Anyway, cancer is another thing hugely important when it comes to using intravenous vitamin C. All right, now if I can find my place. Cancer, Yes. Cancers relieve some depression, modifies much pain, and changes the course of many diseases like multiple sclerosis, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, spider bites, the bites of poisonous insects and reptiles. The watchword is, if in doubt, give vitamin C. So it says here, if Dr. Klenner had lived, he would have wanted this book to be dedicated to the following. He said his wife for her patience and understanding, Fritz for the lively, I don't know who those people are. Anyway, I've done some highlights here. It says, we have misled ourselves with a mistaken notion that all C was supposed to do was to keep us from scurvy. Remember that? That was the whole thing. The British soldiers, the Royal Navy, they would go out on the ships and they would become really ill. In this book that I'm reading, Curing the Incurable, there's a really good history of all of that and how they found when they gave oranges, or I think it was limes, to at the beginning, that this would turn this around for the sailors. If, however, we base our needs on the amounts other mammals manufacture from their intact enzyme, it comes to 2 to 4 grams daily in the unstressed condition. This is what I wanted. I wanted hard and fast numbers. How much should I be getting? Under stress, 70 weight kilograms of rats make 15 grams of C. What's really interesting is the animal that makes the most vitamin C, a little trivia, is the goat. And animals, so we don't have this certain enzyme, so we can't make vitamin C. So we have to supplement with vitamin C. We have to get it from our diet. And yes, there are many foods rich in vitamin C, and I'll talk a little bit about those too later on. But goats are the ones that have the highest. And there are certain animals that don't, and I think it's guinea pigs that don't, and humans don't, and primates don't. And it's this long name to an enzyme we don't have to do that. When animals are under stress, they make a lot more vitamin C. Well, that makes sense. And even though cats and dogs actually can make vitamin C, domesticated animals make much less vitamin C than wild animals. That's very interesting too. So vitamin C therapy could be a very, very good thing for your pets. And he talks about that, Thomas Levy here in this book, Curing the Incurable, as well. We are willing to accept the premise that some of us are born with genetic defects that lead to problems that can be somewhat controlled with diet and supplements, such as phytolketonuria, blah, 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 pernicious anemia. Can't we accept the fact that we all have a genetic deficiency of the enzyme L-gulonolactone oxidase and have to take vitamin C for health, even for life? Erwin Stone calls this human genetic lack, this inability, hypoascorbemia, ascorbemia. That would be ascorbate in the blood. The point that Dr. Klenner is making, quote, the physiological requirements in man are no different from other mammals capable of carrying out this synthesis. If one is anemic due to poor iron intake, is it cheating to swallow iron tablets for a while? If you are hypoascorbemic because you cannot manufacture vitamin C from sugar, like glucose, like the animals do, or those who can, those species, extra glucose in your diet will not help. You need to take vitamin C. Oh, and speaking of sugar and vitamin C, that's another big thing about sugar in the diet and why it's so bad for the immune system. That is because sugar uses the same pathway as vitamin C to enter your white blood cells, which are a big part of your immune system. And when you are feeding yourself lots of sugar, you have a competitor for that uptake. It's very interesting why there's so many colds in the fall and stuff, surrounding Halloween. During that time, I remember, my chiropractor years ago, Dr. Mark Stagnone would say, it was just always a riot at Halloween, how many families he treated who got sick, who got colds. And it makes a lot of sense. It's another reason to really cut down on the sugar in your diet. It says the small amount of vitamin C recommended by the RDA, and you'll see that in my newsletter today if you follow some of those things, because I've got a really good page on recipes with vitamin C and foods with vitamin C, so you can see the different ones. There's a really cool one there that I probably will share my screen with you to show you those, but you can see the different amounts, and oranges really are not the highest. The highest is guava, and right up there at the top is bell peppers. Green and red bell peppers are awesome. Things that you wouldn't think. We always think of oranges, and we always go back to oranges, and oranges are really good for you. In fact, I'm on a little kick. I get on these little kicks. I'm on a kick right now where I'm eating at least 3 oranges a day. I did that after having a meeting with some delightful clients in Massachusetts. We always meet by phone. We've never met in person, but Pete and Inta. And Inta had read that drinking orange juice with every meal would be helpful for weight loss. And I thought, that doesn't really make sense, right? Because orange juice is really high in sugar. But I kind of sleuthed it out, and I didn't put that in my newsletter. I wanted to do that. I'll find it for another time. But eating an orange a day keeps the doctor away. So there is value, and there is a stimulus to metabolism with citrus sinensis. It's actually a part of my metabolism up formula, tincture formula, and so very satisfying, but very good for you. And when you eat the whole orange, you're getting all of the fiber. You're getting things that slow down the uptake of whatever sugar is in there. Oranges are not, but when you take a lot of oranges to squeeze out and get a little bit of juice, you can see why you'd really get, and then you don't have the fiber, right, to slow down the absorption of the sugar. But oranges are a really healthy snack. But anyway, we go back to the small amount of vitamin C recommended by the recommended dietary allowance. 75 milligrams then and 60 milligrams now is enough to protect the person from gross disease, but not the amount to maintain good health. Dr. Klenner quotes Klein and Eyre, who in 1944 realized there are wide variations in the need for vitamin C. In other words, in otherwise normal individuals, quote unquote, normal individuals. In 1945, Jolliffe suggested that the optimum requirements might be more than 10 times the small doses recommended. So this is going back. How it works. It appears that vitamin C acts as a reducing agent, an oxidizing agent, an anti-clotting agent, an antihistamine, and as an anti-infective agent. And he summarized the function of vitamin C and poliomyelitis. Number 1, virus destruction. And this, by the way, I have some really great people who are into natural health and very, very knowledgeable. I've often quoted the guy, oh gosh, what is his name? I have many of his books here, trying to think of, he's very well respected. But when we went through the whole COVID thing, there were various experts who, the answer from Kay, the question from Kay. I'm sorry. Yeah, Q&A. If you are using as far as I know, with the kidney stones, the main thing is to not use ascorbic acid, but to use something like calcium ascorbate or sodium ascorbate. Sodium ascorbate is what I use. If you have a problem with sodium, you need a low sodium diet, and you're taking the doses like I do, because there's 135 milligrams in each of my teaspoons of sodium in each of my teaspoons of. I use a product by Quicksilver called it's sodium ascorbate from Europe. And so you would just go with something that a form that is not as not like ascorbic acid, and there are those out there. I do have in my newsletter, which I want to go to for a second here. Let's see. Now I've got to see where I actually put that one. Bear with me for a moment. So there is in the newsletter, if you go down to down towards the bottom, vitamin C, 6 different forms, their benefits and how to use them. And it's a good way for you to be able to kind of pinpoint how you might what you might want to use for that. So in any case, I hope that answers your question. And no, we do absorb it orally. We do definitely absorb orally over 1,000 milligrams for sure. Yes. And great. Good question. Thanks, Kay. Okay. Now, where was I? If I can find that paper again. So I was talking about, I'm trying to think, during COVID, there was this kind of thing. There's no such thing as a virus. A virus has never been identified. And I have a huge book based on that. I'm going to grab it off my shelf. Hang on. Called What Really Makes You Ill. Why everything you knew you thought about disease is wrong. And there is this thing out there that there are no such things as viruses. And you've probably heard that. And maybe you tend to agree with that. I don't, because it just seems so obvious. We do identify viruses. We know things are contagious. We know the flu is contagious. Somebody once said to me that when my husband and I both had COVID at the same time, that perhaps it was because because we both were exposed to the same toxins at the same time, or that our environment was, our diet, or no, it wasn't. It was like he had it and I caught it. So we know that. So vitamin C in poliomyelitis, virus destruction, dehydrates the brain and the spinal cord safely, supports and normalizes the stressed adrenal glands, preserves the lining of the central canal and maintains more regular spacing and less crowding of epidermal cells, the surface cells of the spinal cord. Ascorbic acid enters all cells. It proceeds to take up the protein coats being manufactured by the virus nucleic acid, thus preventing the assembly of new virus units. Cells expand, rupture, and die, but there are no virus particles available to enter and infect new cells. If a virus has invaded a cell, the vitamin C contributes to its breakdown to blah, 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 which converts to this. Purines are formed, which are catabolized and cannot be used to make more virus nucleic acid. This man who compiled this paper I'm reading from says, I like this from Dr. Klenner. Quote, ascorbic acid also joins with the available virus protein, making a new macromolecule, which acts as the repressor factor. Multiplication of new virus bodies is inhibited. So in any case, he says, every function of the body requires enzymes, some vitamins and some minerals to act as coenzymes. If enough vitamin C is supplied, the enzyme system that breaks down invading viruses and bacteria will be able to do its job properly. Quote, unless the white blood cells are saturated with ascorbic acid, they are like soldiers without bullets. Again, and we are quoting probably Dr. Klenner. This has been Dr. Klenner's main complaint. Failure to benefit from vitamin C use is usually due to inadequate amounts being used for too short a period of time. Again, vitamin C combines directly with the toxin or virus. This new compound is oxidized by vitamin C. The toxin, virus, and the vitamin C are destroyed. This must be why C has to be continued after the apparent cure. We do also, though, thinking about polio, look at the time when that all happened and the problem with the DDT poisoning. And here's the thing, using vitamin C as he did for polio in high doses like that would also antidote that DDT. In fact, there's a really excellent section of this book on all of the various pesticides, not just pesticides, but all the various toxins, environmental toxins and things that we know, arsenicals, cadmium, arsenic-containing compounds, all of the lead, cadmium, aluminum, mercury, all kinds of toxins, but these are present in so many of the different things of sophisticated petrochemicals that we are all exposed to today. And what's really remarkable is that vitamin C, high dose vitamin C, is helpful in multiple chemical sensitivity. If you might be a person with multiple chemical sensitivity, or you may know somebody with that. I just worked with a new client this week who has very severe multiple chemical sensitivity. And this is because of how these chemicals enter and disrupt pathways in the liver and make us ourselves more permeable to problems and kind of make a permanent switch in different things. So this is why we have people with huge problems. Now, multiple chemical sensitivity, you're a person who, everybody likes this is maybe mild, everybody likes your scented candle, but you can't stand it. It makes you sick. Really severe, you can't tolerate anything. Somebody being near you who's washed their clothes and tied, with scents, somebody who's, hairspray or anything, you just absolutely cannot tolerate it. You become very ill. And we see more and more and more of this. And this is all based on these petroleum-based chemicals that, all started with the Rockefeller Foundation, back petroleum. And they were the ones who ended up kicking out homeopathy and the eclectics and making the AMA, the American Medical Association, the only legal organization that can diagnose, treat, or cure a disease. And so going back to that, we have a lot of problems due to toxins. And that's another reason we are all so sick. And I think I'm going to be talking about multiple chemical sensitivity soon because it's very important. And a lot of people do suffer from it. I will say my big guns on that are glutathione and also vitamin C, high dose vitamin C. I immediately got her on that. And also methylene blue. Methylene blue, I was reading that somehow when this happens, this toxicity attack that's altering things in the body of the person who now becomes damaged and multiple chemical sensitive, that it has a way of raising nitric oxide and peroxynitrite. And one of the big things that methylene blue does is regulates the work of nitric oxide. And I'll bet you that that's true of vitamin C as well, because again, there's overlap in the way they work. And very, very excellent. This is so fun, isn't it? I mean, it is super exciting to know that we have so many enemies out there. We are living in a very, very deadly environment. If we really got into examining all of that and seeing it, we would wonder how any of us are thriving. And yet we have tools. If we know how to use them, they're not hard. And sometimes it takes, right, going back to basics, going back to the things your grandmother told you, like, cod liver oil, like one of the best things for preventing measles, right? Better than an injection. Measles shot, mumps, measles, and rubella are the combination of vitamin C and vitamin A, which we get from fish liver oil. These things are basic. They're fundamental. It's exciting. It should make us feel powerful. We shouldn't feel, oh no, wow, what are we going to do? How will we take care of it? Well, we have to stand up. We have to be vigilant in learning. And I'm here to learn myself and share what I learn with you, because I'm just learning right along with you. Okay. It acts as it says vitamin C directly combines with the toxin virus. This new compound is oxidized by vitamin C. The toxin virus and the vitamin C are destroyed. This must be why vitamin C has to be continued under the apparent cure. Oh, poof, right? So you end up with a bind and get destroyed. So you got to keep putting that vitamin C in there to do that. And we're talking here, again, when he's using, what he would use is like high dose vitamin C intravenously, and then in between those applications, he would have the person taking large doses, like maybe 2,000 milligrams every few hours in between. I might be able to really, without taking like an example, he's got some case studies in here. Talks here about measles. He says, the immune, since I was just talking about measles and I stumbled on this, I'll take a chance to read it. The immune function in patients with measles was also demonstrated to be enhanced by the administration of vitamin C. And Joff et al. In 1983 were able to demonstrate that vitamin C allowed for a more rapid recovery of certain lymphocyte subsets. This information alone might not seem very significant, but it makes a lot of sense in the context of the clinical responses that Klenner reported. Like polio and hepatitis, right? Measles is one more disease that is completely curable by properly dosed vitamin C given by the proper route. Also, when adequate doses are ingested regularly, okay, so this is what I'm doing, adequate doses ingested regularly, measles can also be prevented. Other vitamin supplementation is also a good idea. Goskowitz and Eichenfeld in 1993 noted that an acute vitamin A deficiency can be seen in children with measles, usually associated with more severe disease. However, because vitamin C can promptly cure a fully developed case of measles, the ability to prevent the infection is not nearly so important. I think it is. I think it'd be like really better to prevent it, but in fact, a valid argument can be made that contracting the disease, curing it with vitamin C, and then attaining the resultant long-term immunity to the disease might be the most desirable way to proceed. Do you understand what they're saying there? Again, it was like, let me come to your measles party kind of thing. Let me come to your chickenpox party. Because if we get it, then we have lifetime immunity, unlike the vaccines. So he's basically saying, get a mild case, treat it with vitamin C, and then you still have the immunity. Very, very interesting. But you can see that he also says mumps is curable and preventable. Mumps as well. He says Klenner, this guy Klenner, in 1949 of July, reported on the differing clinical courses he observed in 3 cousins with mumps and receiving different therapeutic regimens. A 7-year-old boy was given the old routine of bed rest, aspirin, and warm camphor oil applications, and was noted to have a rough time for a week. An 11-year-old boy was allowed to develop his mumps without any therapy to the point of maximum swelling. At this point, he was given 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C intramuscularly, so that's like right in your muscle, not in your vein, every 2 to 4 hours. Klenner found the boy to be entirely well in only 48 hours. The third cousin, a 9-year-old girl, had vitamin C started when the parotid gland swelling was felt to be still increasing, having reached only about 60% of its anticipated enlargement. The patient was given 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C intravenously every 4 hours and was considered to be completely well in 72 hours. Very, very, very interesting. All of this research has just gone by the wayside, hasn't it? In our modern medical system, it certainly has. So the adrenals and okay, it acts as a respiratory catalyst, aiding cellular. So I have a woman I'm working with also in Massachusetts, whom I've never met, but she has severe respiratory illness following a bad case of, gosh, I don't know if it was COVID or not, but she ended up with a really bad viral pneumonia. And so she's on oxygen and things like that. So working with her, got her on high dose glutathione, but at the same time, we just added, she was taking from, oh gosh, I think from, it's the kind of hoity-toity essential oil thing. But anyway, she's taking a vitamin C supplement of, I think, maybe 1,500 milligrams. And so I had her titrate up slowly. We're titrating that up. And I want to go then because just 2 days ago, I get some of my supplements. I use Thorne Basic Nutrients. I use Thorne Research as a supplement for some of my some supplements I use. It's a very good company. And I just want to go here to glutathione and vitamin C together. So it says here, and I am going to share my screen. And I think you should be able to see that. Glutathione and vitamin C supplementation enhance exercise performance and recovery. I was talking here, I won't read the whole thing, but they did this analysis. And they found, so they had people taking glutathione alone. They had people taking vitamin C alone. They had people taking, then they had placebo. And then they had people taking glutathione and vitamin C. So the results indicate that the vitamin C plus the glutathione group had a significantly greater impact on the following markers compared to placebo or either intervention alone: lower heart rate, lower CO2 output, lower respiratory exchange ratio, lower blood lactate immediately following exercise and at 20 minutes post-exercise, lower diachron, reactive oxygen, before exercise, after exercise, and at 20 minutes post-exercise, higher biological antioxidant potential immediately following exercise, higher oxygen pulse, ratio of oxygen consumption to heart rate, and higher total hemoglobin and myoglobin in skeletal muscle tissue. And that's great. They were evaluating this for specifically for after exercise. But put that into your own life. Just put that into your life. Put that into the woman I'm trying to help with her very severe multiple chemical sensitivity, or this person with a very severe respiratory situation due to viral pneumonia, which unfortunately, now here's the deal. This is what they should have been doing, right? Do you remember people you knew, or maybe you were one of them? You might have ended up with a viral pneumonia as a side effect or as a complication of COVID. And they said, well, we're not going to give you antibiotics because it's a viral pneumonia. Well, what they should have given you was intravenous vitamin C. They should have given you intravenous vitamin C for COVID. That's what they did in China. That's what they did. And it was very successful. They should have given you that, because what happens with the breathing difficulties in COVID are due to this problem with the hemoglobin. And that's what vitamin C overcomes. That's what methylene blue overcomes. These things could have been done very, very easily. And this whole scourge would have been nothing. We are being kept sick on purpose. And I know that sounds like I have a tinfoil hat, and I guess maybe I do, but that is the truth of it. So I wanted to show you here, this is a really cool page right here. You can see 200 foods highest in vitamin C. They start going through some processed things, but this is really cool. The fruits high in vitamin C. You can see this, and they go down through like acerola cherries. Wow. West Indian cherries, 1644 milligrams in 1 cup. I mean, I think a cup of orange is like 60 or so. Guavas, 376. You can see those different things there. Vegetables high in vitamin C. Again, we're going to start right out with sweet yellow peppers, boiled red bell peppers. I love peppers. We eat tons of peppers, and then mustard, spinach, things that maybe you don't normally look at. And then, so you can see more of those things here. These are vitamin C rich recipes. I'm just kind of hustling through because we're getting right up on the hour here. Blood orange and cashew smoothie. That looks really good. This is fun that I can share my screen because usually I have to say, look at that later. Oh, and now I can show you this. If you don't have a recipe keeper and you like these recipes, click on them and get yourself, just sign up for Recipe Keeper. Dale and I each have the Pro, which is like $5, like a one-time fee of $5.99 or something like that. Because we can have as many as we want, but then you add that to yours. And then there's this looks really good. The beef pops with pineapple and parsley sauce, roasted red pepper and walnut dip, roasted halibut with grapefruit fennel salsa. That looks really awesome too. And let's see. And then here's another one with just like, it's your own page. It wasn't too littered with all that pop-up stuff I hate. That's why I usually take them and give them to you in something you don't have to put up with that. Ascorbic acid fruit salad. Here we have the vitamin C salad, which you've got kale, lettuce, yellow bell peppers, right? Cherry tomatoes too. Tomato juice is actually much richer in vitamin C because of its concentration. Green vitamin C smoothie blast, oranges, guavas, kale, papaya, creamed rosemary cauliflower soup. I think it's really good too when you're taking a supplement to take it with foods that contain that vitamin. Like this morning when I took my shot of 2,000 milligrams of liquid vitamin C, I was eating an orange along with it. I mean, not like it wouldn't have worked if I didn't, but it seems to make sense. And even though the bioflavonoids are really found in the pith of the orange, you do get some of that pith on the outside of the orange. I really was impressed with this product by Core Med, which I'm showing you on Amazon. I recommended this. I don't carry it yet, although I got in touch with the company. And they told them my enthusiasm about the things they're doing. They obviously know about methylation and glutathione. And when I went to their website and I was asking them if they have an account for a practitioner, so I can buy things at a wholesale or at a reduced rate and then make them available here. And they did not actually. At the moment, they said they were working on it. When I shared my enthusiasm, they said they're going to set it up next week for me. So I'm blazing a trail there, and I will be carrying their, because I really liked their particular product. Number one, I'm really careful with the source. The one that I take is sourced in Europe. This one that they make at Core Med, they make it in the United States, but they source their vitamin C from Scotland. They source their oil, the sunflower oil from Spain. So they're careful because there's a lot of China all over vitamin C supplements these days. Stop my share. So let's see. We are coming to the end, just about the end of our broadcast. It is 1:00. So I'm going to say thank you for giving me an hour of your time. I hope your interest has been piqued when it comes to vitamin C. I do intend to now, I will end with this. We talked about tea last time. I am going to formulate a vitamin C tea with hibiscus, rose hips, blackberry leaves, hawthorn, cherry. I'm going to try to get acerola cherry, which is I can find a lot of powder, but I don't want powder. I actually want the dried cherry, but if not, another cherry, probably because it'll have some vitamin C and taste really good in the tea. With orange peel, very rich, that citrus sinensis, moringa, which would be really awesome. So, again, I thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a great weekend. I probably will take next week off for Labor Day weekend, but I will, in any case, still put out a brief newsletter of some sort. So, again, have a wonderful weekend, a great week, and I will see you in September.